I respect you and your message, but I'm confused regarding why you are no longer in the community. Okay, so ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to leave the Amish. When I was about 12 years old, I really started thinking about it, thinking, probably won't, maybe, maybe not. And then when I was about 16, I really started thinking about it, and I figured once I turned 18, I would likely leave the Amish. And once I turned 18, my birthday's in the fall, so I decided I was going to wait until the next spring so I would have plenty of work. Sometimes construction work's a little slow in the winter. I didn't want to take a chance of going to work for somebody and then not having any work to do. So I waited until the spring. Well, that winter, I met this girl in another community. We went to another community over the weekend. I saw this girl, asked her out on a date. It went well. Wrote her a letter a couple weeks later asking her for a second date. And then on the second date, I asked her for a third date. Pretty soon we were going steady. And I dated her for a year and a half up until I left. And she's decided to join the church. So I decided to join the church too because I didn't want her parents to look down on me and think that I wasn't worthy of dating their daughter. That was one of the main reasons why I joined the church, because she did, and she was younger than I was. So I decided to give it a try, and I figured once I get baptized, it'll be easier to behave. Well, it didn't make a difference. I still had all the same urges, and I still liked to drink, and I got in trouble for drinking one time, got shunned for 2 weeks, and then people started kind of watching me a little closer, and it wasn't as much fun. And then about 6 months later, I got in trouble for drinking again, and I kind of got put on probation that time, and they didn't shun me right away. They said, we're going to make sure before we do your punishment that you can behave yourself, because you've been having a lot of issues here lately. And I said, okay, and I was grounded for a couple weeks. My cousin wasn't a member of church, but he was also sitting there one Sunday afternoon. We were both grounded, but he had snuck up to my house, and we were talking about how we can't go to the singing tonight. And he's complaining, I'm complaining, and I said, we should just leave the Amish. He looks at me and he said, let's do it. And the next Sunday at church, he told me that he had tried to call somebody, this kid named Danny that had left the Amish, to come pick him up. But Danny said he couldn't pick him up because he was only 17. He wasn't going to be 18 for another 4 or 5 months. Well, I told him, don't worry, I know this guy named James Gingrich, and he can come pick us up and give us a job, and I had talked to him in the past. So I called James and scheduled a time that he could come pick us up on a Sunday afternoon, and that's how I left the Amish. Now, I was intending on going back, but the longer I stayed out, the less likely that became, and then finally I got saved, I accepted Jesus Christ into my heart, and then I realized that the Amish way is not the only right way. And I don't have to go back.